SCP-3999. I am at the center of everything that happens to me. It's sometimes said that perception is reality, and for our typical existence, that might often be the case. The SCP universe has a tendency to change our rules, however, and reality is a much more fluid concept there. SCP-3999 is a complicated piece about both perception and reality, and what might happen when an entity can control both. This SCP is not like most others, and something will quite likely get lost in summarization. But let's begin. SCP-3999 is not written like a normal SCP report, and glancing through it will show partial sentences, ramblings, strike-throughs, and few clear answers. Before we go through the bulk of the report, it's probably best if I spoil the ending first, to give context to everything else. SCP-3999 is an entity capable of bending and changing reality to a high degree. This entity was somehow contained by the Foundation and placed in an airtight cell at the bottom of a kilometer-long shaft, lined with acid-resistant plates and Scranton reality anchors. A researcher, Jamesa Tallorana, was assigned to SCP-3999 and disappeared almost immediately afterwards. His body was later discovered at the bottom of the containment cell, although no one had any knowledge of 3999's existence, and none of the Foundation databases showed any record of it. The bulk of the SCP-3999 document was found as a text file on Tallorana's phone. So, 3999 is a highly powerful reality bender, but where is it? Why did Tallorana die? And why does no one remember it? The answers are in the document, but not exactly cleanly spelled out. The report is basically evidence of a battle between the entity and Tallorana, as this reality bender decided to take a special interest in this specific researcher. Let me read some text at the start to give you an idea. SCP-3999 cannot be contained at the present moment, and currently poses a ZK-class end-of-reality scenario. The most advisable course of action is for researcher Tallorana, believed to be the focal point of SCP-3999, to remove himself from contact with all Foundation sites and personnel to avoid further collateral damage to Foundation property. It is theorized that if researcher Tallorana is contained in an extremely secluded area, then the destructive capabilities of SCP-3999 will temporarily cease. Cease is crossed out, however, followed by stop, be contained, and preserve some remnants. It goes on to say that Tallorana should be removed from all human contact, followed by suggesting Tallorana to commit suicide, but that's also crossed out. Then it says Tallorana cannot leave the Foundation, which is also crossed out, and replaced with saying Tallorana should remove himself from contact with all animal life. Like I said, this is not typical of an SCP document, and it's easy to be left confused. These statements are the beginning of the process by which the entity is torturing Tallorana. The entity is capable of bending reality to suit its whims, and it's conceivably powerful enough to accomplish anything it wishes, but it has set its sights entirely on Tallorana. It proceeds to force Tallorana to suffer, die, and watch others die, over and over for its own amusement. It describes sending trained Foundation agents to execute Tallorana's mother and father, along with his sister. It discusses how Tallorana was forced to watch as his sister was nailed to a wall and lit on fire. All of his colleagues that have had contact with Tallorana are summarily executed or poisoned, including the O5 Council. The report then goes into containing 3999 in another SCP, 2432, an anomalous hotel room. This results in the creation of a dimensional anomaly that leads to an infinite hotel. A number of strange organisms exist in this alternate dimension, such as armor-plated wolves, large cephalopods called behemoths, and crabs using gutted PlayStation 2s as shells. Exploration teams also found an entity superficially resembling a human, called researcher Tallorana, but they executed it after it asked about SCP-3999. 3999 is removed from 2432, causing the alternate dimension to disappear, and the report continues. It continually alternates between keeping Tallorana with 3999 and keeping him away from it, and occasionally having him terminated. Tallorana has an interview with the Foundation doctor, but claims that he feels like he's in a dream. He says that reality is starting to feel less real. When he asks the doctor his name, the doctor apparently just makes a noise with his mouth, and Tallorana becomes increasingly confused, wondering how a word could be redacted in a normal conversation. Tallorana continually battles with 3999, attempting to